Hello and welcome back to the afternoon commute. It is already pretty warm outside. Earlier, the temperature was reading at like 74 degrees, but that was before I got a truck wash, and now it's reading at 61. And my truck needed a bath pretty bad, so I'm sure it feels good. So you see that white van? It's always one of those on the way home. And then the Skyline Mechanical's in a pretty big hurry there. Number 13. He's got a rush job to get to, I guess. So last night we had chicken tacos, and then tonight we're gonna have some beef tacos. Last night my son and I, the youngest, we got out. I think it was a couple pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I think they were breast or I don't know if they were thighs. But what we did was we took them out and we marinated them in some chipotle sauce. It was like a small can. We put some lime juice in there. I think you put garlic, pepper, and a little bit of maybe some cayenne. And then we let it marinate for about 45 minutes. Then we fried them up on the stove with some olive oil, and then let them rest for a little while. Then chopped them up into small pieces for the tacos. And then he also added a little bit of honey, and I think he added something else, but I'm not 100% sure. And then he kind of mixed mixed the meat around so it got a little tiny bit of a honey glaze on the outside. And then he warmed up some tortillas on a comal, and then he also did a couple quesadillas. It was pretty good. It was kind of a last minute decision because we we wanted to cook something, and we just decided to try to mimic some of those chicken tacos that you get from almost at Home Depot from Filiberto's. So yeah, it was pretty good. We're gonna try to tweak it again, maybe in a couple weeks, and then just kind of get some solid measurements so that if we need to make a bunch in bulk, we can do so. Because we also wanted to see how it would be to do a like a free food thing for people at the park and do a like a free concert. Have his band do a free concert. They're also having a show, I think, on the 21st. I need to get details on that. And I think it's in Tempe. Tickets are $15 per person. I'm pretty sure it's an all ages venue. Yeah, so we'll cook the taco meat this evening and then munch that out. Man, it's always scary seeing people on the side of the road trying to change out their tires or even just sitting there waiting for a rescue truck or something. Because sometimes people are distracted, they're on their phone or who knows what, and sometimes they go a little bit too far, like this way, and then by the time they look up, those guys are right there. lot of traffic on the other side. So yeah, today we worked on the test builds for the new instrument that's coming in March. There's not a lot of assays on there, but it's still going to help us bring more of the reference lab testing in-house. We'll be bringing measles IgG, mumps IgG, varicella IgG, toxo. What else was it? H. pylori, and I think there was one more. I think there's a total of 9 tests coming in. I think on some of them we also have the IgM. But I was trying to figure out what platform we could try to look at for bringing in some HIV-1 viral loads, because that's a lot of money that's going out the door that we could run in-house. But you also have to make sure that you get some good pricing from the manufacturer or vendor, because if they know that you're already paying for a reference lab, and they can say, oh, well, I'm just going to go a little bit less than the reference lab, and then just to get your business, when in actuality you could probably get maybe, I don't know, half as much as what the reference lab charges and still get the deal. But I think that's what some of the people that do the contract negotiations should ask for from the subject matter experts. Like, say if they're going in for they're putting out bids for transportation, of maybe supplies, or yeah, I guess just supplies throughout the state. And it would help if they knew how to get competitive pricing information to include everything that should normally come with that kind of contract, just so that they're more knowledgeable and better able to negotiate with potential contractors for the best price for the organization. Sometimes I feel like even though they're getting the contract awarded to the best or lowest price for the organization, sometimes that price doesn't always include what's needed to get something done. So it'd be helpful if they were able to work, I guess, more directly with the people that work in those areas. Other than that, I don't know how many of you are going to be headed up north this weekend or next weekend. I don't know what the weather's gonna be like, but be sure and eat some good food and get some good munchies. I'm not sure when we'll be going back up, but I did get a quote, or I revisited that company that was offering the quote for the shocks and struts, and it's 1106. Excuse me. Oh man, sorry about that. 11:06, and the soonest they can get me in is like early March, maybe the second week of March. So I might have to just have them pencil me in so I'm on the schedule. I've seen some people do the back shocks, and you don't even have to lift the vehicle or take off the wheels. All you do is just get under there with, I think there's on the bottom of your shock is a bolt with a nut. I think they're 21 millimeter, and then one bolt on the top with a 21. So 3 points on each side, and you just need to make sure. Some people say don't take the strap off of your shocks before you put it up because it's going to be hard to compress it again. And then some other people say to compress the shock 3 to 5 times before installing it, just to get the fluids moving, I guess, and get it, make sure to wake it up, so to speak. But I don't know what you guys think about that, if it's necessary. I know one time we replaced the shocks on the D21 with some shocks. I think they were Monroe's that we got at O'Reilly. And when it was, we took it for service and a checkup at this Japanese auto, I think up on Northern or Dunlap or something. And they put it up in the air, did their oil change, inspection, etc. And then when they brought it back down, it was sitting crooked. I think it was the passenger side was much higher than the driver's side. And they said it was because of the way that the shocks were. So basically, they had to lift it back up, make sure you hold the shocks so it goes back down the right way. But I don't know if that shouldn't be. I mean, I think they said those were like defective or something. But you shouldn't have to do that when you're lifting your vehicle and then putting it back down, because it should just flow back and get set the way it was when you before you lifted it up. A lot of traffic right now. But I guess what I could do is see if I could get some more quotes for maybe. I didn't even think about this, but we could ask for some quotes from some different shops to use a business account versus just a regular customer account, and see what kind of prices we can get. Because some of the videos I watched, they have like the Bilstein shocks just come with the shock, or you have to compress the old spring and take out your strut and then put your new strut back and then decompress the spring. And I think I don't feel comfortable doing that kind of stuff because it requires more tools and you're working with something that's under a lot of pressure. And so I think that for me, when we did the 2017 Escape, we bought the strut assembly. It already came assembled and everything in the box, and we just did a straight swap. And these trucks, what I've seen them do is you pop off your, lift up your vehicle, pop off your wheels, and then there's two bolts holding the bottom of the strut to your suspension, and then on top there's 3 nuts that need to come off that are holding the top of your strut, and then you have to kind of maybe get a crowbar or something, and then allow enough room to pop your strut assembly out, and then when you're putting it back in, you have to pry it open to allow for more room, and then put it on. But that seems like it shouldn't be too much. But like I was saying this morning, the pricing is what was really, I guess, preventing me from just getting the parts, because the parts themselves were just almost as much as the quote I got. But if I could do some more research on the pricing, I think that would help, and see if I can get a business account at some of these parts places, and maybe they'll have a better price. One of my tuyas also is able to help me with that and get me some better information. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna work on when I get home, and I'll keep you guys posted.